right? Listen to me closely, because I'm not here to waste your time with pleasantries. I'm seeing the chatter, I'm seeing the panic on the forums, and quite frankly, the atmosphere around the racecourse right now is thick enough to cut with a rusty knife. We are staring down the barrel of a defining moment in this championship campaign, and if you are feeling the nerves in your stomach yet, you haven't been paying attention. We've got Norwich City coming up, a massive club, a club with Premier League pedigree, and we are sitting there, tantalizingly close to the playoff spots, scratching at the door of the top 6, but there is a shadow hanging over this fixture, a massive, towering shadow that goes by the name of Kieffer Moore. Everyone is asking the same question: is the big man back? Is the gaffer going to risk our 12-goal talisman? Or are we going into battle with one arm tied behind our back? I've got the update. I've got the words directly from Phil Parkinson's mouth. And let me tell you, it is a total gamble. It is the kind of decision that makes or breaks a season. But before I drop that bombshell, and trust me, you want to hear exactly what the situation is with Moore and Issa Kabore, we need to look at the bigger picture. Because something strange is happening in the football world. The experts, the data nerds, the people who have spent 3 years telling us WREXHAM is just a Hollywood circus, they are finally starting to crack. They are looking at our league position. They are looking at our squad, and their brains are malfunctioning. We are breaking the system, lads. We are absolutely dismantling the logic of the championship. And I've got some quotes here from the biggest pundits in the EFL that prove exactly what I'm saying. They can explain us. They can quantify the spirit of the Red Dragons. So strap in. We are going to dissect why the stats hate us, why Dominic Heim is the unsung hero of this revolution, and then the main event, the gaffer's risky plan for Kieffer Moore. Let's get into it. I love it when the spreadsheets fail. I absolutely live for the moment when the expected goals merchants have to look up from their laptops and admit they haven't got a clue what is going on at the racecourse ground. We've got a situation here with the pundits from the Not the Top 20 podcast, Ali Maxwell and George Elek. Now, these two know their stuff. Usually they eat data for breakfast, but WREXHAM, we are their kryptonite. We are the glitch in their matrix. They've been looking at the playoff race, and let's be honest, it is absolute carnage in that top half. You've got Sheffield United looking strong, you've got Coventry and Ipswich flying, but when it comes to the final spots, the data says we shouldn't be there. The data says we are statistically improbable. But guess what Ali Maxwell has done? He's thrown his hands up and surrendered to the madness. He's come out and said, quite literally, that WREXHAM had broken the game in his brain. Can you believe that? We've got pundits admitting defeat. Maxwell said, this is the most non-data pick of all time. Because WREXHAM are not posting good numbers. He's basically saying that on paper, we look like a mid-table side. But football isn't played on paper, is it? It's played on mud, sweat, and the roar of the tech end. He admits that trying to judge us by his preferred method of analyzing teams hasn't worked for 3 years. 3 years. They've been betting against us since the National League because our underlying numbers weren't pretty enough. Well, look at the table now. Maxwell reckons the intangible stuff is the reason. The upgrading of the squad, the momentum, the belief. He says, I am tired of backing against WREXHAM. Because it has not gone well for me so far, I will throw my weight behind them. I think they genuinely might nick 6th spot in this crazy league. That is music to my ears. It's vindication. It proves that what we have here, this connection between the community, the owners, the gaffer, and the players, is worth more than any algorithm. We are grinding out results. We are finding ways to win when we shouldn't. That is not luck. That is character. They think we'll make another big signing or two. Maybe, but the fact that they are now terrified to bet against us shows the fear we are instilling in this division. We are the wild card. We are the chaos agent. And I absolutely love it. Now, speaking of character, speaking of that intangible grit that the pundits can't measure, we need to talk about a man who has quietly become one of the most important names on the team sheet, Dominic Heim. When we signed him on deadline day from Blackburn, it was a bit of a whirlwind. Undisclosed fee, last minute, panic stations maybe. But look at what he's done. He didn't walk straight into the team. Remember that? He sat on the bench for that 3-1 drubbing by QPR, a horrific day. But since the gaffer threw him in against Norwich back in September, ironic, considering who we play next. He hasn't looked back. 21 league games in a row. Every single minute of the last campaign for Blackburn. The man is a machine. He is the definition of a clean sheet mentality. Even when we are conceding, he's the one holding the line. and he's finally got his goal, hasn't he? That header against Forest in the FA Cup? What a moment. But it's his attitude that sums up why this club is successful. He's come out today and said he's not taking his place for granted. He knows we've got centre-backs stacking up, pushing for a spot. He says, "It's testament to the squad. I want to play as much as I can." This is a Scotland international, a lad who has played at a high level, and he's down in the trenches with us, fighting for every ball. He loves life at the racecourse. He talks about the fans being really good to him. That's the bond, isn't it? Hyam represents the stability we need. While everyone talks about the Hollywood strikers and the flashy wingers, it's players like Hyam who stop the ship from sinking when the waters get rough. He's the foundation, and against a team like Norwich, who can hurt you in a heartbeat, we need Hyam to be at his absolute peak. He's not flashy, he's not doing stepovers, but he is a warrior, and in this league, warriors are worth their weight in gold. But Hyam can't do it all on his own, and this is where the anxiety starts to creep in. We are heading into this Norwich clash looking for a 5th league win in a row, 5 in a row, in the championship. That is automatic promotion form, never mind playoffs. But the cost of this run is starting to mount up, the bodies are dropping, and the physio room is getting crowded. We saw Sam Smith limp off against Forest, hearts in mouths. He's been crucial. Then you put Ollie Rathbone, scored a goal, brilliant performance. But then, Ryan Tightness, scan needed. That is never what you want to hear. Tight groin can mean a few days rest, or it can mean weeks on the sidelines if it tears. And let's not forget Max Cleworth and Matty James, both missing a Forest game completely. This is the attrition of the championship. It grinds you down. We are 1 point off the playoff places. One single point. The margins are razor thin. If we lose focus, if we lose key personnel, we could drop like a stone. Norwich are no mugs. They will come to the racecourse looking to spoil the party. They know we are vulnerable physically right now. The gaffer has to be a magician here. He has to balance the desire to win, to keep this insane momentum going, with the reality that if we break these players now, we have nothing left for the final sprint in April and May. It is a high-wire act. And the biggest question mark, the one that keeps every Wrexham fan awake at night, hangs over our number 9, the beast, the focal point, Kieffer Moore. Listen up, because this isn't just a standard fitness report, it's a bloody manifesto for the weekend. This is the news you've been desperate for, straight from Phil Parkinson's mouth ahead of the Norwich clash. And frankly, it is terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. It's the kind of update that keeps you awake at night, pacing the floor, weighing up the glory against the catastrophic risk. First off, let's breathe. The good news, the absolute relief is Sam Smith. The lad is fine. Parkinson's confirmed it. Sam's fine. It was only a slight injury. Thank the football gods for that. In this league, you don't survive without his engine, his grit, and that relentless work rate that makes defenders want to pack it in by the 70th minute. We cannot afford to lose him. Then there's Ollie Rathbone. The scan says nothing serious, but the medical staff are hovering over him like nervous parents. They're monitoring him. In my book, that's a 50-50. It's a late fitness test job, a Saturday morning. Can you go, son? Moment. We need him in that engine room, snapping at heels and bossing the transition. But let's talk about the real story. The Colossus, Kieffer Moore. 12 goals, our top scorer, our focal point. The man has missed the last 3 games with that treacherous hamstring issue from the Preston match. And let's be honest, we've looked a little less menacing without him. Hamstrings are the devil's work in this sport. You think they're healed? You feel $1 million. You go for one explosive sprint to get on the end of a cross, and bang, you're back on the treatment table for 6 weeks, watching the season go up in smoke. Parkinson has just dropped the bombshell. Kieffer Moore is back in full training. Let that sink in. He's not just jogging, he's in the thick of it. He's putting his shift in. But here is the gamble that defines the season. Do you start him? Do you throw a man coming off a muscle tear into a high-intensity, high-stakes scrap with a side like Norwich? It's a total risk if he plays, and that hamstring snaps again, that's his season done. That's our primary weapon decommissioned, right when the playoff push turns into a war of attrition. It is a massive, massive gamble. Parkinson says they are monitoring him along with Issa Kabore. And don't overlook Kabore. The Man City loanee is back in the mix after the absolute heartbreak of AF Con with Burkina Faso and his own nagging hamstring problems. He's finally back on the grass. That is a gargantuan boost for our width. We've been crying out for his raw pace, that ability to turn a defender inside out and leave him smelling his exhaust fumes. Parkinson warns he's still working his way back to full fitness, but he's in the squad. He's a weapon we haven't been able to fire for far too long. So, here is the gaffer's dilemma. He's got the beast and the flyer back on the grass. We are hunting a 5th straight win. The momentum is pulsing through this club like an electric current. The temptation to unleash Moore is almost overwhelming. We are a different animal with him up top. He doesn't just play the game, he bullies it. He holds the ball up, he draws the fouls, he dominates the air, and he brings every other player into the final third. But is it too soon? Are we being reckless?
This is the edge of the seat stuff I'm talking about. It's a high wire act without a safety net. Play him, and we likely steamroll Norwich and send a message to the entire league. But if he breaks, we might just lose our shot at the top 6. Parkinson is earning every penny of his wages this week. Personally, I say you go for the throat. If the big man says he's ready, if he looks the physio in the eye and says he can do it, you play him. You don't leave bullets in the chamber when you're in a literal gunfight for the Premier League dream. The pundits are starting to believe, the fans are ready to roar, and now the beast is prowling the training ground again. Saturday cannot come soon enough. This is our time. Up the town.